What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Easy Paradox coming at you with just a little bit of everything. And this week was crazy. I was not expecting this many close games, but here we're going to go through the recap of all of the top 25 teams. Well, most of them, not all of them, just the ones that are notable. None of the blowouts and none of the ones that just were gimmies. So we're going to start here with with the two undefeated, Penn State versus Ohio State. It was a dogfight up until the fourth quarter. Penn State came in the league with the best defense, and it was proven. It was showing out on that first half. Same with Ohio State's good defense, and then it just finally broke and snapped, and they just could not. They could not move the ball like on offense. So their defense just finally just broke. Just kind of like when Penn State versus Iowa. Like Iowa was in there for a while, 10-0 at halftime, and then their defense just snapped. Next game was UCF versus Oklahoma. This game was so close that was closer than I would have ever thought. I was not even going to watch this game, and then I kept seeing the score updates, and I had to turn it on for that fourth quarter, and it was not disappointing. UCF, they almost tied the game in the fourth quarter. They only needed that 2-point conversion, just couldn't handle. Oklahoma is one of those teams that have always historically just been struggling against teams that they should just be blowing out, just random teams throughout the seasons over the last like 5-10 years. And it shows here. The next game is Texas-Houston. Texas was pretty much winning that entire game. The only reason it's on here is because Houston rallied after that first half performance. Texas was up 21-0, and Houston made it a game. They came back and made it a game. The next group of teams here we have is Tennessee versus Alabama. Tennessee was winning this game, commandedly winning this game. And then I don't know what happened. Tennessee just crumbled. Just their offense literally exploded. And then their defense just was not good in the first place. So then Alabama just started taking advantage. And after that first half performance, Alabama came back a different team. They came back a different team. I give Alabama a lot of crap for that first loss they had against Texas, but they are proving that they can perform in these environments against these SEC opponents. I could see Alabama winning out if they keep performing the way they did in the second half. Iowa lost 10-12. It was a very slow game. Iowa has zero offense. At first I was almost deceived. That first drive of Iowa, they were running down the field with their offense, throwing the ball, running. It was spectacular. I was like, oh my god, I've never seen an Iowa team perform this well since a long time ago. But then it just turned back into old classic Iowa where they just could not run the ball. I think there was a stat that was on the screen in the fourth quarter that Iowa in the last like 10 drives it was like minus nine yards of total offense. It was bad. It was just so bad. Ole Miss Auburn. That was a very close game for most of the game, but Auburn just could not throw the ball. I think they had like 50 yards of total passing, and doing with that kind of performance, you're not going to beat Ole Miss, especially since Auburn's offensive running game was pretty subpar. The only thing keeping them still in the game was Auburn's defense holding Ole Miss to a measly 28 points. But yeah, they had it -6, so I guess like it was supposed to be close. But Ole Miss is just a better team, especially coming in at 13th overall against a Auburn team that's 3-3. I still think that Ole Miss should have performed a lot better than they did. But props to Auburn for staying in there and making it a hell of a game. Next slate of teams, another undefeated going down. North Carolina just could not hang in there with Virginia. I don't know what was going on. Virginia coming in the game 1-5. This is the first time they've ever beat a top 10 opponent away, and they just crushed them. I see the score is very close, but Virginia was commanding this game. There was a lot of back and forth scoring, but Virginia just was not phased. They were in it to win it, just running it down. The spread was -23, and Virginia comes back with the massive upset. This is probably the upset of the week, and it's just unfortunate. I was on the North Carolina bandwagon right this week. I was like, okay, North Carolina has proven they could beat ranked opponents. They've proven that they can move up. And as soon as I go, North Carolina is going to win the game. It's going to be commanding it. And pretty much put an infinity sign right there. It could be anything higher than 40. They just come out and lose. Like I don't understand. That was just like such a struggle for North Carolina and then all of its pseudo fans, I guess. Utah versus USC. That was a closer game. It was fun. It was exciting. I had Utah winning the game. I did not believe in USC's defense. Their offense was coming off of a loss, and I know their offensive line last week was just a struggle. And they didn't disappoint. Utah just outperformed them. Just they exposed UNC's defense. They have, I think it was like they're on their third string quarterback at Utah. They have a safety at running back. Like, they just exposed USC's defense. Like a well-oiled machine. They were well coached. I feel like the USC needs to figure out their defensive problems because they're not going to continue winning games against good teams or even just better than average teams if they just can't perform on defense. And that could be a coaching issue, their friends or something like that from what I've been reading. And USC had high hopes for this season to come in, redemption from last year, but Utah was the nail in the coffin for them right there. Next big game was Duke, Florida State. Florida State, Florida State. They've been struggling all year with first half performances. There were too many close games. Duke was in it to win it at the first half, and then at some point in the second half, Florida State turned on, we're a good team, and Duke said, we don't know how to play football anymore. And Florida State just took it from there and created a commanding lead. And Duke just could not score, could not move the ball in the second half. Their defense was in shambles. It was hard to watch near that second half. Like, it was really entertaining at the first half. Duke and Florida State going back and forth with blows, but then Duke just lost touch at the very end. The next group of teams, we have Washington State, Oregon. The only reason I put this on is because Oregon didn't cover the spread with the -20. I had Oregon dominating this game just because Washington State has proven to not be very good. But Washington State stayed in there for a while, especially after the first half. The score was pretty close. I think it was like 17-13 or something like that. And then Oregon just kind of was leading the way. Oregon was going to win this game. It was just a matter of were they going to cover or were they not going to cover. And they didn't cover. Washington State made a game out of it. The next game that's most notable is the Arizona State-Washington game. Washington just could not move the ball running. They could not run. They could not run the ball. And Arizona State saw that opportunity and just put their linebackers back. The linebackers were just playing soft zone and creating hell for this offense. I think they had 3 turnovers in the first half, 4 turnovers in the first half. Am I mistaken? It was like 2 interceptions and a fumble like in the first quarter or something like that. But it's unfortunate that it was closer than the score even makes it. ASU just doesn't have a team. I always like to make fun of them as like they're like a high school team because they're not going to a bowl game. Most of their good talent transferred out, and then all their other good talent is just very, very young. Because next year they're probably gonna have a new coach. They're probably gonna have a new system going in place, and it's unfortunate for ASU. And then the last team I put in here was the only reason I put this team in here because this game was not close in the slightest was because everyone that I ever watched or even saw talk about Missouri is that Missouri's no good, Missouri's bad, Missouri can't cover spreads, they can't compete, they don't have a defense. This game's gonna go really close, or even South Carolina's gonna upset them, and Missouri came out and performed, and they played solid football and showed the haters wrong. They said Missouri came in here and was like, we're going to dominate. We're going to win by at least 20 points today to show that we deserve to be in like top 10 discussion. But time will tell. Missouri does play Georgia this year, so we'll see if Missouri deserves to be in discussion for the playoff berth. Next, we have the FPI rankings that ESPN offers. And I took my camera away so you can see all the percentages and all the cool numbers. We have every adjustment that has been made. The only reason I brought it all the way up to 12th is because Washington is at 12th place and they have a significant chance to make the playoffs versus like Notre Dame, which is like a 0.1%. And Washington's still technically undefeated, so they deserve to be on this list. So if they were like 20th, I would have to put all 20 teams. It's very notable to see that Ohio State has a 74% chance of making the playoffs. And Michigan has only less than 50, and Alabama has has almost the same percentage as Georgia, and it's just a cool way to visualize like how the teams are moving up and down, where's it all going, and if we were to look at like the Pac-12 in particular, the Oregon has 13, Washington has 23, and if you were to really think about it, it's almost like they're valuing the Big 12 more than they're valuing the Pac-12, which is crazy to think because the Pac-12 is stronger. It's just that the fact that the Big 12 doesn't play anybody, as you can see, Oklahoma just almost lost to UCF, which is a terrible team coming in at 3-3 in the game. Even Texas has a better chance of making the playoffs than Washington, and Texas has a loss. And if they were to lose again, or if they were to win, it would be X1s. And that's going to be it for this video. Please like and subscribe to the video if you like this kind of content. I'm here all week. We're going to be creating new content. I'm going to add more content. I think I'm going to add NFL this week. We're going to see what we can do. I do like watching a little bit of the Dolphins. I like to watch a little bit of the Bears play football. But we will see on more content like that. But if you like these kind of videos and more NCAA content, please let me know. Peace.